Hey, what's up guys? It's Eric from Team Rec here, coming at you with another deck profile. As you can maybe tell, it is Kashtira. This is for the new ban list that takes into effect today, June 5th. For those of you who don't know and play Kashtira, Mind Hacker is now banned, Unicorns at 2, and Rise Hearts at 1. So, a couple changes to the deck. Basically, I just threw in more hand traps based on what I think will be good in the new meta. Like I'm predicting, a heavy presence of Labyrinth, Branded, Striker, Runic, and of course mirror matches. Vanquish Soul is a deck to also take seriously as well. They look pretty strong. But anyway, let's get into the deck, and I'll explain some of my choices as I go through. So I'm on triple Fenrir. That one's pretty obvious. Same as double Unicorn. Obviously, if we could play more, we would. I guess this is a bit different now from the current trend. I have been seeing like a lot of one Rise Heart builds, like before the ban list. With the Unicorn gone, I think that's the logical substitute. It's a good card for toolboxing. Especially if you draw it with Birth. Of course, it's another extender. I don't play the Tier Cache as well. I just play Scareclaw. So I think just having the 3 extenders there is good. And then, of course, you have stuff like Theosis as well. So just keeping it pretty slim with the cache lineup. Hand traps. I'm trying out a heavy hand trap lineup right now. So I'm on the triple Ash, triple Bell, triple Shifter, triple Nib. Depending on how the format does go, I don't know if I'll be maining Shifter, but I think the evidence suggests that it should be mained, especially in this deck, because you virtually, suffer no drawback and, only get benefits off of it really. And it just hits a lot of decks, and I think Tier is going to try to come back with Rise Heart at 1. So this will hit stuff like Tier, Runic, Striker, even like I think Tri-Sprite will be something to look at, but this still hits a lot of decks, so I'd keep this in. Nib, that's something I kind of flip-flop with, but currently no one is really respecting it, so in response to that trend, I'm just going to keep Nib in. I think it's a really cool card. Of course, it's really going to help you in the mirror match, but there is, of course, the drawback of it flooding your own board. So you kind of got to, make what you will with the card, but I think this is pretty solid, like in terms of like strongest hand traps. Bell, like I think we're going to see a lot of Labyrinth, so, and Branded, of course. So that's why that's in there, and it works under Rise Heart and Shifter, these two, because they don't go to graveyard for cost. I did think about keeping Droll in, like for stuff like Striker, even super heavy, Runic, stuff like that, but that's what I decided on for now. Still a lot of testing to do, of course. 2 Lava. I think this is good to start putting in cache decks again, especially with decks like Sprite and even Labyrinth when they're flooding the board on your turn. Branded, just there's so many decks that it hits, and of course effects like these, or not effects, but summoning conditions like these, and Kaijus of course are hard to stop, so would keep that in. Great in the mirror too. I don't know how much like a Rise Heart pass we're going to be seeing even in the mirror match. With the Rise Heart being at 1, I think people will just go for more defensive boards with like Shangri-Ira and maybe plus a Rise Heart. I think people will be playing into Nib a lot more with that deck. So Lava Golem and Nib are solid choices. That's it for monsters. For spells, I'm on 3 field or 4 field. Triple Birth, double Theosis. I think with like the slim lineup, this can be a bit bricky. a lot of ways to get into it as well. So, you know, not too worried about having to. Kind of helps those awkward hands, I guess, but I don't think that's really a mathematically sound statement. 3 pot. Yeah, I need a third. This card's kind of a no-brainer in cash. Double talent. I don't know about this one right now. It still needs a bit more testing, but I think it can kind of stay in cash builds. Just did a lot of testing against Striker, and you know, that card kind of sucks against a deck like that if they're not on hand traps. And a lot of people can play around this card too. And obviously drawing doubles isn't good either. They're negatives, but it's pretty high impact when you do resolve it. And of course, people will try to just hand trap you to death because you're playing cash. So I think the card's still really good. I guess you'll notice I'm not running Ogre, so you're not going to see any traps. I didn't play Prep, Big Bang, or anything like that. So these are the last cards in the deck. I'm just on triple book, double econ. The quick plays are pretty versatile, especially when, you know, they're trying to stop your monsters with stuff like Imperm. You can play around like that, or just targeting stuff in general. You can remove your monster from the field to sort of blink out against stuff like that. Yeah, and this card has a lot of like cool interactions with Nib and the token, and like Ibly, stuff like that, where you need to sort of clear your own board and put pressure on. But that's it for the main deck. I believe that's 40 cards. Extra, I'm on Rise Heart, double Shangri. There could be a case for 3, but just like with Prosperity and all. But I don't think you'll ever need to use 3. 2 Zeus. I'd say you still have to watch out for the mirror, because if you Ash Unicorn in the mirror, that kind of gets rid of the Zeus. So, and you're so reliant on Xyz. Rest of the Xyz are Dark Arm, Big Eye, Dracosac, playing Titanic Moth now. A little bit more flexibility with the 2 freed spots from Rise Heart. This is good for easy Zeus and like low life point time situations. Dirty play like that. Dark Armed. I think this is probably the best card in the extra, if I'm being honest. That's it for the Xyz though. And then for the rest of the extra deck, we have Baron, Psyframe for Synchros, Garua, Skullwagon, Donner, Lingaribo. So a lot of these are probably pretty obvious to Kashtira players, but for those who don't know, it's just for Ibly. I'm playing Econ. This helps clear your board too. And then these are like my pros targets. I think this is good for recycling a Rise Heart, and then you probably need that for Floodgates, I think anyway. And then Grua, it's just good follow-up after Rise Heart gets outed. But the deck's not going to be too reliant on a Rise Heart now, so that's something that's also going to need a little bit more testing, like the importance of Prosperity. But of course, turn 1 setup is everything. 1 Baron. I got Bell and Ash, so I think it's more justified than it's ever been. The side isn't really finalized at all, but what I think will be good is Triple Droll, Runic, even stuff like Tri-Brigade, Striker, Cash, of course. Card still has a place in the format. Even Super Heavy will still be doing things too, so I think it's good to keep around, but not in the main. I don't think it's too impactful in the main, and it does conflict with you know, your macro like effects in the deck. 2 Kurikara. This card's pretty insane. Can really swing a game in your favor in a simplified state, so been loving that card. spells. So this is just for increased access to breakers against decks that are gonna, you know, negate and hand trap you. Of course, for lab and back row, we got Duster. Then just rounding off the side deck are the traps here. I'm on triple barrier, triple evenly. Yep, this card's great for blowing out decks. Not too much to say about evenly. Could maybe get away with less copies if you want to put more faith into thrust, but I still like 3 evenly. It's a great card to open against a lot of decks. And then you just set up in main 2. Triple barrier. This card's going to go extremely hard this format, I think. Even the next when we see like Synchro become super popular. But I just like this for branded. Really slows them down. And of course the mirror, but you want to keep in mind your board state too. And then the last card's Deflector. It's just a thrust target essentially. I think it's one of the better sets if you're playing in a matchup like Striker or Runic. I know I'm putting a lot of emphasis on those decks to be good, but I think we'll see them around, and even just like Runic as a supplementary engine to a lot of decks, we'll see that too. But that's it for the deck. Hope you enjoyed. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have a lot more videos to come. Thank you.